Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2022, and today I want to talk to you all about dating in 2022. Dating in 2022 can best be described as an exercise in futility. It is a dumpster fire dressed up as a train wreck, wrapped in a disaster. And I feel personally that to date in 2022, you have to be willing to tolerate abuse. You have to be willing to tolerate these open situations where people date and have sex with multiple partners, which, in my estimation, can be really, really dangerous. Given so many pandemics, now we have monkeypox to contend with, in addition to the classic STDs, syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, herpes, HIV. Um, so it's been really challenging. Like lately, I think a lot of people are just staying to themselves. They are staying home. They're no longer really going out like they used to. Everybody is terrified. And there's this climate of fear that permeates our society today. And I gotta be honest, you know, when I did participate in dating in the gay world, it was a trauma. It was a trauma. You found men who never wanted to date. Like, even now to this day, there are dudes who do not want to date because they got this a myriad of reasons, which we'll get into a little later on. But long story short, it's just a trauma. It's a trauma trying to get someone to date you. Even asking someone out on a date is difficult, because a lot of people these days, they just are afraid. At the root of it all, when you get down to the nitty gritty, at the root of it is fear. People are afraid. They're afraid to open up their heart. They're afraid to trust. They're afraid to get into another toxic situation, deal with another loser, and have to basically just start all over again. As you get older, it gets harder to start over. You have to always start from scratch and pick up the pieces. As you get older, you just get tired of just doing that. A lot of people resign themselves to being in bad relationships because at least they know this person. This person is the hell that they know. So they're just like, let me just stay in this relationship because it's better than going out there into this unknown. At least I have a person who I know their game, I know their tricks, I know their issues. I'll deal with it. And so they resign themselves to staying in toxic relationships. And me personally, I'm not an advocate for that at all because over time, that wears on your spirit, that wears on your soul, that wears on your motivation to really find the love that you deserve. So I'm not an advocate for staying in toxic relationships. I'm just not. That's not it. But at the same time, I can definitely understand. I don't condone. I can definitely understand though why people stay in toxic relationships. But going back to dating in 2022, I think it's hard really to date in this day and age because, for one, the apps. There are so many apps out there: Tinder, Grinder, Jacked, Scruff, all these apps out there that promote easy sex. Sex is too easy. When sex became easy, dating became hard. You know, Basically nowadays, all you have to do is you could just, within 3 messages, you can have somebody deliver penis to your door. You know? DoorDash? No. Now we have Dick Dash, where basically you can have within a couple of minutes someone coming to your door to give you a blowjob or to basically just have sex with you. And when you can do that, who wants to date? Why spend money and take this person out when you could just, get the sex for free? Like the old saying goes, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? So with the invention of these apps, a lot of people are not motivated. And let's be honest, back in the 1980s, oftentimes you would go out, looking your best, looking your best. You would meet somebody, you would typically the guy would buy the woman a drink, or the guy would buy the guy a drink, and you would just open up that line of communication. Buy a drink. A drink would be a calling card. Now, I don't know when the last time somebody bought me a drink at a bar was. Nobody does that anymore. They don't buy you drinks because at the end of the day, they come home after the night is through and they start to realize based on their bank statement that they spent maybe like over $100 on drinks. And you're spending all this money on people who don't even like you. People who are just using you to get a drink. I know I've seen it with my own eyes. Women have been using men to get drinks at clubs. They were saying, oh, let me get 2 Long Islands. They were buying drinks for them and their girlfriends on this man's dime. And that's not cool. You know damn well you don't like this dude, but yet and still you accepting his drink. That right there is using somebody. That's not acceptable. So I think that that really is what kind of made people just gear towards the apps. And with the apps, it just became so easy. It became too easy to actually get sex. You don't even have to leave your house. So I think with that, that's one factor. I think also with inflation, economic crises tend to affect our love lives. As prices go up, a lot of people are realizing that they can't afford to date. These days with gas prices, food prices rising, all you can afford is just a hookup. And even that's expensive, when you think about the products you might have to get in order to make that hookup smooth, i.e. lube, condoms, all that. So, yeah, inflation. Pretty much as prices rise, you start to realize that people stay home, they don't date, because it costs money to date. To take somebody out to an event, to a show, dinner, it costs money. So that's one reason. I think another reason is text messaging. People do not communicate effectively anymore. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to really share in a way that is genuine. They do not know how to listen to save their lives. People do not listen to one another. And I think that it's this inability to listen that's creating this divide between both men and women. And I also think humanity in general. And it's this lack of communication, text messaging. It's just like all you have to do is just WID, HRU, all these abbreviations is really killing our ability to communicate because it's making it too easy. Now, if you actually have a full conversation via text, people don't even respond back. Or what I've noticed is that you write this long paragraph and then you wait maybe days max for people to respond only with a K. What? I wrote this entire paragraph and you're responding back with a letter? You just don't feel the investment. You don't feel the investment. You don't feel the reciprocity. You don't feel like you're getting what you're giving. So you just like, whatever. You just like, forget it. Because I think, honestly, text messaging is also like a prelude. It's a prelude to a date. It shows you if this person is going to be an interesting date. Now, if a person's not texting you back in a substantial way, in a real way, you can only imagine that when you're sitting across from them, how that interaction might go. So it's like, okay, I'm getting less of you now via an electronic device. I can only imagine we're face to face, So I think the death of communication has really resulted in the death of our dating lives. And it's unfortunate, because I think like many people, I remember dating. When did I last have a date? I last dated in 2016. That was my last date. And we're in 2022. Oh, but yeah, that was my last date in 2016. And if memory serves me correct, it was all right. Scale of 1 to 10, it was average. It was a 5. So I just feel like, I could use a real date, like a real date. I think we all could use a date where we feel excited. I used to feel excited getting dressed up and putting on your best clothes and putting that spritz of cologne all over yourself and just really just smelling good and feeling confident and feeling like infinite possibilities away. It felt really nice. It felt really nice. Now I don't have the same motivation. Half the times I'm just thinking about coming home while I'm getting dressed, getting ready to go out. I'm thinking about being back in my bed because it's like nothing is ever as advertised. You meet somebody, they seem cool, and then that's when the red flags start to come out. And so you're just like, oh, here we go. And I think, to be honest, another reason why dating has kind of been put on the back burner is we have a lot of information. We are flooded with information. And when you know a lot about people, it definitely breeds some contempt. Familiarity breeds contempt. When you know the games, the hustles, the manipulations, how people these days, the new game is a lot of people are saying that they don't have cash on them, that they have Cash App, and they'll try to Cash App you or they'll Cash App you later. And that's their way of evading paying for things. And so what they'll do is pretend to Cash App you. And as you go throughout the night, you start to realize, wait a minute, that Cash App never hit my bank account. So it's like there's these games. And when you have that information constantly flooding your mind, you start to realize, people ain't worth a damn. They just ain't worth a damn. They're just not like they were. Back in the day, there was more heart. People tried. Now everybody's just trying to hustle you 24/7. So you're just like, okay, I'm good on that. I'm good. But I'm just thinking, like, with this love drought and this dating divide, what does the future look like? What does the future look like? How are people getting married? I know they're using Match.com and all these other electronic chaperones, but it's exhausting. Dating in 2022 is exhausting. And I think because people are so busy trying to run game that they don't realize that they're just losing out on a good match, what could be a really, really great relationship. But this is our world. This is what we have to do. So a lot of people, what they're doing, they're starting to get pets. They're trying to find love in the animal kingdom. Hopefully they're not sleeping with the animals, although that's a different YouTube video altogether. But they're going back internal. They're going back to their hobbies, their interests, their reading, their exercising. They're going to friends and family for the love and support that they need. Because they realize that with these other romantic relationships, all you end up doing is pouring into empty vessels who never appreciate what you bring to the table. And so that gets exhausting. But I just think that, something's got to give. What I recommend, this is what I recommend in order to heal the dating pool. Because I don't think that you should present a problem if you do not have a solution. I think that people need to start calling each other more as opposed to text messaging. Let's start calling each other, having those conversations on the phone again. Let's start doing that. I think also people need to start turning off the news and stop watching the news so much, because the news can pollute your mind and it can make you afraid to go out there. Information is great, but also you have to learn how to counterbalance it with some positivity. It's necessary. Being in the know is essential, but at the same time, you also have to keep it positive too, because there's some great things happening in the world as well. I think also what might heal this dating divide is people really just get to know one another, not going out on a date with ulterior motives. And what I mean by that is sometimes people go out on dates because they're hungry. because they want to get out of the house. Go out because you want to genuinely meet somebody. You want to get to know somebody, not their wallet, not their pocketbook, not anything like that. Go out with genuine intentions of getting to know somebody. Go for a walk in the park. Go for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Stop expecting these lavish dinners in the beginning. My thing is, this is my firm belief. You spend 3 dates getting to know somebody, know them, walk in the park, coffee, trip to the library, something relatively inexpensive. Now, if you start to feel like there's a connection, there's some chemistry, then you begin to pour and invest your time, energy, and resources. That's when you come out of your pocket because you realize that there's chemistry here. There's a person that I'm genuinely vibing with. So yeah, now I'm paying for your date. Now I'm taking you out because I know that. And ladies, you definitely can do your part too. I'm speaking to you. You can definitely cook the man a meal, make him a meal, show him that you are actually invested too. Because I think that constantly men are pouring into the dates, giving the money and spending with no guarantee that there's an investment from you too. So it needs to be mutual. There needs to be mutual so that way, and a lot of people may not agree with that, but that's just my opinion. I feel that there needs to be mutual interest showed because we know how it goes. People are terrified. They're terrified to enter into this dating pool. So both parties need to make sure and reassure. Make sure to reassure. How you reassure somebody that you're interested, once again, cooking them a nice meal, maybe a little inexpensive present just to let them know that you were thinking about them throughout the day, something that's kind. And also take your time. Take your time. How to heal, don't rush. Oftentimes we're lonely, and your loneliness makes you desperate. And when you're desperate, you rush. And when you rush, you make some really stupid decisions. I think that also what might heal the dating pool is stop giving the cat so quick. Stop giving the penis so quick. Do not jump in that bed unless you know what's in this person's head. Do not jump in that bed unless you know exactly what their agenda is, what their intentions are, because quite frankly, we're rushing in. I think, to be honest, long courtships are essential because you have to know exactly who you're dealing with. Is this person worthy of your energy? As I mentioned before, sex is very, very sacred. It's sacred. It's an exchange of energies. And so you want to make sure that you understand who this person is before you're trading energies and exchanging those energies. Because honestly, there's so many people out here, just the walking dead. They've allowed somebody to have access to their spirit, and now the person has definitely just sucked the spirit right out of them. Just took the spirit, just drained them of their energy and their life force, and they're just walking around here empty shells. The walking dead. So you want to make sure that who you're dating is on the same page as you. It's so important. So once again, I hope that this video was helpful. I hope you got some useful tips out of it. Definitely comment below and let me know what your dating experiences are, because I'm wondering, am I alone here? Do other people have positive dating experiences? What is your experience? So I definitely would love to know. So this has been Lewis Speaks. Definitely share this video if it resonates with you, and hit like and subscribe. And once again, I thank you so much for listening. I wish everybody a healthy 2022. Peace, y'all.